Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Hotline League. We got the hottest league for you tonight. It's all the hottest stuff, all the leagues,
hottest hosts.
And Ovely will be joining us later on, too. So you even, besides the hottest hosts, you even have Ovely. That's right. We'll get to that in just a second. But this is episode 9 of Hotline League. We are airing this on Monday, the 15th of January, as Tomox of Dagger Spine subs to the show at the
Martin
intro.
Luther King Day, baby.
Yeah.
Does not mean anything to me in terms of what day it is. I mean, obviously, the guy was very, very important.
We're moving on.
I meant a lot of people see it as a holiday. For me, it's just another Monday in terms of my workflow. You know what? We're moving on.
You're saying it's a great day celebrating a great figure.
Yes,
absolutely. But even on such a great day, you don't have the chance to take it off because we're producing great esports content for the fans.
Right, esports never sleeps.
Yeah. Oh boy, I almost feel like we got to restart this one, but we'll just move on.
No, dude, this is exactly what you want.
You know what? It's good that you're getting this out on this show because before you get to the analyst desk and flub up like that. Anyway, that's right. So LCS is starting this Saturday. And, of course, we're going to be talking about that, making predictions. Mark has a power rankings out that we'll be discussing shortly. But, Mark, how's this past week been for you?
It's been exciting. I've been doing a lot more meetings, ramping up the analyst desk as it's going to be a bigger deal now and all that. Like I said, I'm very excited about that. Finally put the first thing on my YouTube channel in over a month out today. So that felt good to kind of do. I still need to refund my Patreons for last month where I didn't do fuck all. But other than that, I'm just excited for the season start. It's like life isn't the same without the LCS going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's been interesting. There's so much stuff going on. I'm going to an Echo Fox event tomorrow to interview some of their players. Did an interview with pretty much everyone on CLG. Those are coming out this week. And just kind of prepping for stuff. I'm trying to think if there's, sometimes I like to share personal tidbits on this. Yeah. Went to a thrift store near my apartment with a coffee table this week to donate it. And the woman said, sorry, we can't take any damaged furniture. And I said, well, just out of curiosity, what do you see as damage on this? And she said, are you kidding me right now? The entire top of this coffee table. Gave that place a negative Yelp review. Anyway.
Wow. You showed her.
Yeah. Ovely's going to be joining us on the show in a little bit. But first, before we get into calls, before Ovely shows up, we're going to talk a little bit about our predictions. So you want to give me give me the top 5 of your power ranking videos so that people have to go watch the rest of it to see the other 5.
Well, I'll do top 6 for all the playoff teams.
Okay.
I had TSM number 1, TL number 2, CLG number 3, C9 number 4, Clutch Gaming number 5, and 100 Thieves number 6.
Okay. So, maybe we can do right now. We should do as I put my glasses back on so I can see my screen.
Well, why don't I remind everyone how this works?
Yeah.
So if you guys are new to the show, the way this goes down is we have a Discord. I'm spamming it in the chat right now. Oh wait, no, that's your stream. Take 2. I'm spamming it right now.
Open up as many copies of this stream as you can.
Yeah, boost those numbers.
and it increases your chances of getting on the show.
No, join the Discord. There's going to be the general voice chat, which you're going to want to join because that's how I drag you into the waiting room and stuff. If you're not in there, I can't add you to the waiting room. And then post your takes in the general text chat. So, like I said, I want takes, not I want to talk about this. I want to talk about your power ranking. Tell me specifically what you overrated TSM. They won't do that well. Mike Young's the liability, stuff like that. Give me specifics. That way I can know what I'm bringing you on for, and we will debate, and I will tell you why you're wrong.
And as always, at the start of the show, Mark and I chat a little bit about something kind of related to the topic. I think the main topic for this week will obviously be the start of LCS coming this weekend. But maybe, Mark, just to kind of wet everyone's whistle, put some opinions out there that people can call in and argue with us about, we can talk about our predictions for this weekend. Have you done predictions yet?
No, and with all due respect, I think I should save those.
For what?
What do you think?
The analyst desk?
Yes.
Oh. Well, don't people put out predictions ahead of the analyst desk all the time? This used to happen. People would do predictions on the dive, and then on the analyst desk, they say, "Oh, never mind, I changed my prediction."
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine, but going for and I don't think it's a big deal if I did predictions. But
all right, I'll do my
I
predictions because I'm not a little baby.
No, we're doing like a running prediction thing over the course of the year. I'm pretty sure that Jack mentioned that in this comment. He was like, one of the things that's nice about having a set desk is you can do like season-long things over the desk. So one of them is going to be if Jat or I predict more things correct on the desk. And I don't want him to watch this and get a leg up with my superior reasoning.
I am going to make my predictions because I'm not held back by corporate like Mark. And I'm gonna go through. Mark, you can tell me if any of these are crazy or whatever. So I've got TSM over Team Liquid. That's right. I don't believe as much in Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid's going to have a slow start to the split. Let's see. 100 Thieves versus Optic is the next one.
Are you putting this up on screen?
No. Should I?
Why don't you put it up? Yeah, help the viewers out too.
Well, it's difficult because of the way that this works, but I'll figure it out. Okay. Hang on, everybody. We're all in this together. I'm pitting the webpage. We're self-producing here. This is a bootstrap production. All right. So here's the schedule, everyone. As the Lolly Sports page refuses to load. There we go. So we got 100 Thieves versus Optic. And I didn't, unlike Mark, I didn't go through and figure out these ahead of time. So I'm going to do them kind of live right now. But I think 100 Thieves over Optic. I feel like that's not crazy.
Okay, I won't call you crazy. I'll call you crazy when I disagree.
Okay. Clutch over Golden Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
We got. I like that you're like, I'll call you crazy when I disagree. So we're just you're revealing your predictions by not agreeing.
No.
All right. I think Echo Fox is going to start off strong to the split, before possibly
You're crazy.
Imploding. So I think Echo Fox over FlyQuest. You think crazy?
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got Counter Logic Gaming as we scroll down. And over Cloud9, or actually, this one actually might be the toughest to decide on the whole day for me. I'm gonna go with Cloud9. All right. Then the next day, what do we got? We got Optic, Team Liquid. Okay, Team Liquid. TSM
Cloud9 versus CLG is really close. I was thinking if I should call you crazy, but I think it's close enough that there's no clear.
Yeah. You could pick either, and people shouldn't consider you crazy.
Yeah.
We got TSM over FlyQuest. I feel like that's easy. CLG over 100 Thieves. Cloud9 over Gold. Dude, day 2 is not. Cloud9 over Golden Guardians.
Well, no, 100 Thieves versus CLG. Dude, what are you talking about? That match is hype as fuck. Afro versus former team.
Okay, that's hype, but do you think that it's going to be close?
I think if CLG are not in form, it'll be close.
Yeah, maybe.
Because 100 Thieves are...
Why wouldn't they be in form, though?
Because they lost their fucking shot caller. Their emotional leader, Afromu, they're going to be like...
you talk a lot about... Hang on, let's go back to our faces. You talk a lot about emotional leaders, but I think... Do you really... Emotional leader sounds like such like a... I don't know if that exists, right? Like, Afro was another player on the team. Yes, he was a veteran. Yes, he probably helped making shot calls. By the way, there's very few teams that have just one shot caller, and I doubt it was Afro. Specifically, entirely him. So, yeah, the narrative is probably great. Like, I'm sure on the analyst desk, you're going to have Jet being like, this was their emotional shot caller. He's like the guy leading the team for all these years, and now they're going to have to figure that out, But I don't know if that's actually how it plays out.
I think the bigger concern is not just that you're losing Afro, but who you're bringing in as well. Because Reignover, so this was my point in my video, was like Reignover on Team Liquid was brought in to be like a veteran presence and a vocal person who's going to help lead the game, and he sucked at that. Like, he was awful. He completely failed in that capacity. He's a great jungler, but you need to have you can't rely on him to be that guy. Biofrost was kicked off TSM And the one reason they gave was communication. So you're bringing in two guys who sucked at communication on a team that usually wins through their playmaking and team synergy way more than they do based off individual skill. So while I have no problem agreeing Afro and Omar got upgraded, it's how good are they now as a team? Because it's all about like Huhi making crazy roam plays with his jungler and being all over the map, and like will Biofrost be able to work with Huhi when Huhi's like, hey, it's level 2, I'm coming down bot lane? Like, is that something that Biofrost is going to give him the appropriate information to do?
So one thing that people should check out is every piece of content on my YouTube channel, but specifically the Stixxay interview that I posted to today. And it sounds like they have more shot callers than they know what to do with, because in it he says basically Bio came on, which by the way, side note here, I title the video "Is Biofrost CLG new shot caller?" And everybody without watching the fucking video goes in and they're like, no he's not, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, you should watch the video, because in it Stixxay says that basically Bio joined up and he told Tony and Stixxay or the team, hey, I want to have more of a voice on the team and more of a leadership position, not looking to be the shot caller, but I want to sort of step up in that way. And then Stixxay says that basically the scrims start, and Bio just starts shot calling naturally and talking the entire time. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, that's a good sign to me. And then the funny thing is I posted this video not knowing that a couple of hours earlier, maybe yesterday, somebody had gone to the CLG fan meet and asked who was going to be the shot caller for the team, and Huhi said, it's me. You know, this is like Huhi's going to be the shot caller. So
yeah,
I don't know what that means, but it's interesting.
Well, I think the idea of like a singular shot caller is not really what I was criticizing them for, because Darshan I know is super vocal, and Huhi I know is very vocal.
But it sounds like you shouldn't be as concerned about Biofrost not being as vocal as he was on League or on TSM, because it sounds like he's going to be more vocal now.
Oh, you mean that team doesn't want to say anything negative before the season starts?
Stixxay brought it up on his own. I wasn't like, you didn't watch the interview. All right.
No, I didn't.
You guys can go watch.
I understand that, like, Biofrost, it's not like he's a mute. You know, like, I understand he talks and he can communicate, but, like, it's about on stage, in pressure, in those kinds of situations. Yeah. That's one of the things Afro was always great at, was he was very, like, you know, the clutch thing. I mean, like, it didn't feel like nerves really got to Afro.
Yeah, but no, he's on 100 Thieves, not clutch now.
What?
He said the clutch thing. He's on 100 Thieves.
I said clutch factor, dude. Clutch is a fucking word outside of the team, you know, right?
I know. I was just making a pun.
I know. Anyways, my point is, we've seen Biofrost get, like, shook on stage before. And, like, I just am saying, you took what CLG was good at, and you removed the best people for that. Like, Smithy was always really vocal in the early game and had a clear picture of what he wanted to do. Afro, very vocal. Yes, they still have Darshan and Huhi, but, like, jungle and support are two of the most important places in the early game, and you put in two players who are not known for their communication skills. All
right, our last couple of things. I got Cloud9 over Golden Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
I went really safe on all these, so I'm going to go with Clutch over Echo Fox. I think Clutch will clutch it out to continue with the clutch puns this show.
At the risk of giving away too much information, the Echo Fox Clutch matchup is very interesting because I think Clutch is a better team, but you're putting Solo up against Huni, which sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very curious what Huni's mentality is going to be. Like, he just got off SKT, he's coming back. Like, do you feel like that means that he's going to be like, I'm ready to prove myself? Or do you think he's going to be like, oh, what an exhausting year. I'm not making it to the finals this year, so time to kick back and relax, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to kick back and relax. Also, it's like a fun meta for Huni. Like, there's a lot of top lane carries you can play.
Yeah. Okay, well, it being fun. By the way, we just broke 1,000 viewers. We've never had that on the show before. I think
yes,
except for Skara hosted us one time, and that was when we got it, right?
That was when we got it? I thought we got it just because we did, like, the show during, like, the roster upheaval.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I thought that was just like a hype time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that'll be interesting. We got about 9 minutes or so before we bring Avali on. So, Mark, maybe you can You can
Do you
share
want to
like
stall more, or do you want to?
no. I'm just I shared some opinions. You don't want to share your predictions, which is understandable. But maybe you can think of what are a couple. Do you want to make any bold predictions for this first weekend?
I'll make. It's not really a prediction. It's just like a claim, I guess.
Yeah.
I would say that the most important player for how this entire like season shakes out is Licorice, because C9 last season they were between like the second and fourth best team, and they were a very big stopgap between like good and bad teams because they absolutely obliterated bad teams. They had the fastest win rate ever, or not ever, but that split. And if Licorice comes in and is a liability, he potentially keeps C9 from ever really challenging for first. Potentially losing to some of these new import teams. But if he comes in and he's solid and can hold his own in the top lane versus a very strong position, because there's a lot of really good tops. There's Huni, Darshan, Hanser, Flame, Someday. Like, the pool of top laners is really strong. And so if he can't handle that caliber of opponent on a weekly basis consistently, he'll probably hold C9 down. But if he can do it, C9 could potentially push for first place.
Do you?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm curious. I'm trying to think when. Okay, you can look at most teams and you can think of like the major misstep that they made, right? Like pretty much any team that's ever brought Dardoch on, especially after his tenure on Team Liquid, but also like TSM with Glebe, TSM with Yellowstar. I'm very curious. What are the major missteps that C9 has made?
I don't think they made any major missteps where I'm like, so like Impact got really overpaid for this season. The
they've like overvalued players potentially.
Well, so other people did. Like, if someone's gonna come up to one of your players who you think is good, but like all things considered, Impact was like top 4, top 5 when he was in form. Like he got smashed a lot of the time in summer, and then he obviously is great in the playoffs and great at Worlds. But he's like, top 3 when he's in form, and then like top 6, top 7 when he's not. And so if someone comes in and is like, we're going to pay $1 million for that player because next year he's a permanent residency, I think I understand Jack's position on not wanting to pay for that, if that's the reason they let him go and didn't match any offer. Or maybe Impact just decided to leave. I'm not exactly sure. But I can understand letting Impact go. The contract situation was a weird one to me. There was a TwitLonger contract said that they agreed in principle to a 3-year deal, and then he kind of backed out to say, I want to at least see my value on the open market. And during that time, Jack signed Sven and traded contracts.
Yeah.
And this is via contracts as a TwitLonger.
No, I had a conversation both with Jack and with contracts recently that sort of verified that. Because originally I was going to try to do an interview with contracts about all of it, and then it became a TwitLonger.
Yeah, so it seems like Jack kind of just didn't want to wait to see what happened with contract and just pulled the trigger on someone he felt like was an acceptable replacement.
I mean, the theme of offseason was panicked owners trying to secure a roster because they were afraid they were going to end up like in a disastrous situation. And I think that's kind of what happened, right? It's like you've got this guy who's on your roster, you're worried he's going to leave, so you like grab somebody.
Yeah, I think that's the feeling I got. So I don't think C9 was like, this is the team we 100% want. I think they wanted Licorice for sure, but the jungle move was not exactly ideal. So I think it's hard to say they went wrong there. It wasn't like, oh my God, how could they possibly think that was going to work out?
The only reason I brought up the question of what missteps has C9 made in the past is that I think I've always been impressed with Jack's ability to find talent. And to make kind of big bets that people question, and then they end up working okay, both on the challenger front and also on the main roster. So, I feel like it's hard to imagine Licorice being a disaster. Maybe he'll end up being like the big, the C9's first big failure, but it seems much more likely that he will at most just be mediocre, right? And how does you said so much of the split depends on Licorice. What happens if Licorice just becomes like neutral?
Well, so that was my point, is I don't really know if there is a neutral position in the top lane pool, because you have like those 6 guys who I said are beasts, and like they all had different play styles and they're all different players, but all of them are really, really good. And then you have like Lorlo, Zig, I'm forgetting somebody, Solo. And if Licorice falls more into that second category, I think C9 has really legitimate problems staying a threat for the number one seed.
What if he falls into a third category that exists between the first and second category?
I don't know. I would have a hard time envisioning what that category is because like someone like Lorlo can at times go toe to toe with him. I think in summer I forget what it was, but he had some really nice stats. And like he had points played really well, and a lot of people said, Lorlo is not as bad as people say, and that's something I agreed with. But he was still a clear tier below the actually really strong top laners.
Yeah.
So either Licorice is a step behind, and like he's not getting smashed every single game, and maybe because it's best of one, that means it's not as big of a problem. Whereas like you need to win 2 out of 3 games versus Huni or Someday or whatever it is. But I have a hard time seeing that middle category where he's like losing consistently, but not so badly that Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie and Sven can't carry.
Right. Well, 2018 is the year of the Lorlo, so I don't think it even really matters.
Yeah, he's coming back strong.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get Ovely on, which means we need to switch scenes. I'll use this is my transitionary scene.
I'm
that
watching
we go to.
Bated breath.
Yeah. So we just use this as the filler while we're switching scenes. Let's see. We'll add Ovely to the call.
I like how there's like one GIF or something that is just barely off screen animated.
Is there?
Yeah, like it's like someone putting on their underwear. It's just slightly out of shot, but you can see the movement.
Yeah, I go for that. Hello, Ovely. She can't hear us. She needs to join the Discord, which she might already be on. If you can try to
should I be in?
Yeah, can you join the Discord? Yeah, and then we'll pull you in.
What's your name? Can you ask her name?
What is your Discord name?
This is the struggle.
My Discord, Avi. I'm in the thingy. Should I join the general?
Say yes. Tell her yes.
Yes. You need to be in one of these rooms so that we can drag you in.
The picture of Thresh. Look for Thresh.
Wait, I see you. Yeah. Grab her. Go.
Wait, Thresh?
That's her dog.
Okay, well that was not very clear.
Yeah.
All right, now mute your mic on Skype, Ovely.
Yeah, you need to mute your mic on Skype and then unmute on Discord.
Speaking of muting on Skype, Travis.
There we go. Boom.
I'm good. Okay, now I have to set up my webcam.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this done beforehand?
Okay, you know what? I'm trying new things.
Yeah.
See, look, this is my setup.
Okay, nobody can see you yet. Hang on. Now that you're there, I need to switch this over. People are going to really like this, I think.
I didn't have... Okay, I'll just wait for you to switch it over. Yeah. I also can't see right now, so you're going to have to tell me when things actually happen.
Is that why it was taking so long? Is because you can't see?
Yeah, I'm trying to get used to the new lifestyle. I've been sick.
Really?
I use things by hearing now.
Hang on. People still can't see you, but they'll be able to in a second.
You're killing me, Travis.
Well, this is what it takes.
There is like yarn in my eye right now.
People are going to be very confused as to why you're saying that.
Ugh.
Hang on. Okay, we're pushing live. Boom. Cough.
Also, yeah, I'm going to be coughing probably a lot.
You can mute your Discord.
I can mute myself. I'm going to mute myself when I cough.
Okay.
This is my favorite kind of guest, the one who shows up, fucked up, coughing.
Ready to go. I took a shot of NyQuil. People are texting me.
Yeah. Great.
Anything for Travis.
Yeah,
all
thank
right.
you.
Let's get this intro underway, Travis.
Okay, so Ovely, for those that do not know who you are, and I'm not talking about your cosplay, who are you? What do you do in the League scene?
I'm just the biggest Travis Gafford fan in the entire world. So I just follow and copy whatever you do in hopes of one day being as esports as you.
Okay, great.
I also do interviews for Riot at the LCS.
Yeah, great. Love it.
Coworker, woohoo.
Probably used to work with me. Wow, you join and like the sub train begins.
I can't see, so you're gonna have to describe everything to me.
Well,
Are you
several
going to
people
keep that
said.
on?
I don't know. See, you guys were wearing sunglasses when it started, so I went to look for sunglasses, couldn't find those, and then you took them off. So I'm conflicted. What do I do?
I don't know. Whatever keeps the sub train going, that's what you're gonna do.
I take my sunglasses off because they bother me.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay. So, Avali, this is your first time on one of these opinion-oriented shows, and
Yes.
you are, I'm guessing, a little nervous about because people say things on these shows. They're going to ask you questions, and then you'll get judged for your response.
Yeah, I have always been terrified of having an opinion, like, ever. I'm just terrified that I'm going to say, like, something stupid like, oh, yeah, mix up Hoo-Hee and Hooney's name just, like, on a whim, and then boom, 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 she's a fraud! E-girl! Or, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I've always been a little terrified.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out if that's
Trial,
going to happen.
trial
Yeah.
by fire. I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk the rest of the show.
Oh, no, please, no!
Yeah, neither am I. This
Yeah.
is just you hosting the show for the rest of the time. Let us know when it's done, and we'll turn it off.
All right, you do that. I'm going to call Emily in. We're going to talk about the season's anime.
Oh, good.
And we're going to hijack this.
Oh, great. Yeah. Hotline League. Maybe that'll be the April Fool's joke. It's just.
Yes.
Okay.
I am very much down for that.
Okay. Let's see. Let's keep the sub train going. Should we? Well, here before we get our first caller on, Avli, what are you most excited for the start of the season?
The Team Liquid TSM game, are you kidding me? It's just, what is going on? There were so many roster changes that I feel like a lot of fans are just going to be completely conflicted with where does their loyalty now lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for the TSM TL game. What else is on for this week? I was listening to you guys going through your predictions. Against popular opinion, I guess, I kind of want to see Golden Guardians succeed. There are all-American teams, so I want them to beat Clutch Gaming. I know you said you wanted Clutch to take the win over
I didn't
there.
say wanted Clutch. It was a prediction.
I'm sorry. You thought Clutch is going to take the win. I think Golden Guardians is going to come in and surprise us all with their... I think the meh of their roster is going to turn into just this little bubbling little potential.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm excited for it.
Nice. Top tier analysis. The meh will turn into this bubbling potential.
How am I doing, Travis?
I have a theory that the reason you want them to win is because Contracts is a big weeb. And you are a big weeb.
He found out.
Okay, let's get our first caller on. And while we get our first caller on, Mark is going to start pulling people. Actually, Mark, you want to get people to start putting questions, or have they already been? Oh, you've got a waiting room going. He's going. All right, so while he's pulling that people in, I'm going to go over really quickly to my dashboard and thank several people who have started. So starting with The Gaming Orange, Zigsta6, Lord Sid 12, Soaring Beef, Dr. Manhattan, Tormax of Dagger Spine, and then finally Poro Stan with a $10 donation. He says, you need to get BioDaddy on. Love the content. I'm happy there's at least one person who covers League well. Super rare in esports. P.S. Follow up on your interview with Biofrost. Yes, he must be, except the BioDaddy meme. Okay, there we go. Our first caller is Zyka. Zyka, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the middle of nowhere, Grand Junction, Colorado.
Okay, very, very cool. What is the weather? You know, we like to do the weather map over the course of the show. Tell me what the weather's like in Colorado.
All right, so usually in Grand Junction, Colorado, we get a lot of snow, and I love snow. This year, it snowed 2 days for about half an inch, so I'm actually really, really disappointed with the weather.
Yeah. Sorry. Everyone, by the way, thinks you sound like Tyler 1.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been told that, really?
Okay, yeah.
Can you scream at the top of your lungs?
No,
real quick,
please,
just
no,
to get it real
please,
quick?
please, no. Please,
Should
no.
I?
No. I will mute you. That'll be the end of your thing. All right, Zyka, what's your take for the show today?
All right, so today I want to talk about how people are grossly underrating 100 Thieves and overrating CLG.
Okay. So they play this week. They're the second day. Mark, whenever I did my prediction, I said CLG over 100 Thieves, but Mark was saying that's a much more hype game than I was giving it credit for. Why do you think 100 Thieves... Presumably you think 100 Thieves can take that game.
I do think they can, yeah.
So how come?
Well, I think that 100 Thieves actually covers up its weaknesses a lot better than people give it credit for. And those two weaknesses mostly are Meteos and Rio, right? That's the general opinion. But if we look at the roster and just how these players interact with each other, I actually think that Meteos and Rio are going to make a great pair. First of all, Meteos and Rio actually want to play with each other. Like Wall Esports tweeted out, their little interview with Meteos today. And he said the biggest reason I went with 100 Thieves is because they signed Ryu. I really enjoyed playing with Ryu on Phoenix 1. And it's pretty safe to assume that, Ryu feels pretty much the same way. So we'll probably get at least a decent synergy out of them in the first place. But also, these two players have had motivation issues in the past. And I also think that'll be covered up because in an interview that you did with him, Travis, with Prawley said that the first thing he asked Meteos was, what's your motivation going to be this year? And then probably said something along the lines of that he thinks that Meteos is the most motivated of any player. And also, with Rio having a great history with Prawley, I think these two players are going to actually have a lot more motivation than the community gives them credit for, and they'll be able to perform at a higher level than what everyone thinks.
What if they like playing with each other because they both like just hang back and relax and play video games and chill? And it's actually going to be the opposite, where the fact that they like playing with each other and they've both had motivation issues will backfire.
I suppose that's possible, but these guys are professional League of Legends players who have been to World Championships. Like, they know how to get it done when it comes, when it's time to work hard. And so I guess that's a possibility, but I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they do know how to work together at a high level.
I would agree with that. Are you at all concerned about the bot lane of 100 Thieves? Because last year there was a fair amount of times where Stixxay and Afro would kind of get themselves killed in lane, and it would make the game really, really hard for CLG. And I would say that Cody and Stixxay are close in skill, but given that we haven't seen as much of Cody, just for the sake of argument, potentially a little worse than Stixxay. Are you at all concerned of the bot lane just getting run over sometimes?
Their bot lane, I guess, is weak mechanically, but Aphromoo is going to be a great mentor for Cody's son. And Cody's son, he got a lot of flack at Worlds, for his anti-insect play or whatever you want to call it. But if we think about like his career and how it started, he started on Immortals with Ole as a support. Ole coming from, where did he come from? Like Brazil or Taiwan? I don't even know.
Wherever you throw a dart at a map, he probably came from there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So like these two didn't really have an opportunity to develop a mentorship relationship like Aphromoo and Cody's son will. So I feel like these two are going to have a better opportunity to develop synergy that will cover up for their mechanical weaknesses, just simply because Aphromoo is, one, a great leader, and two, those two will already be able to form a relationship from day one rather than figure out what that relationship is going to be as it was with Cody's son and Ole.
Interesting.
Hopefully, thoughts?
I always wondered, with the whole mentorship, newbie, Afro, Cody, because they already both, grew with different teams, when you meet and you join as a new bot lane, do they ever clash? Or will they just suddenly go, okay, here, boom, wow, I understand you, you understand me, now we have this perfect synergy?
Like the styles? Yeah, it's funny, I was asking Stixxay that question in the interview I did with him that everyone should check out on my YouTube channel, where I said, you played with Afro, who had previously played with Doublelift, now you're playing with Bio, who is, again, Doublelift's previous support. Do you feel like you have to train these guys out of any bad habits? And he's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. They're more lane-oriented, and I like supports that can kind of go off and just do their own thing or really make their own decisions on this stuff. So it's just kind of funny seeing how that works. But, we'll have to see how that plays out in the Cody Sun and Aphromoo thing.
I think it generally just depends on, when you hear them talk about the game and what other people say about them and how they think about it. I think you can usually see that there's some play styles differences potentially for some bot lanes. I don't think that's really the case for the 100 Thieves bot lane. Like, Cody doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's like, pick me things. I can't take bad matchups. I need to be the aggressor in the matchup. He doesn't feel like that kind of player. Afro very much the same way. Like, I think that they understand like playing losing matchups, and Cody sometimes they hang back while Afro makes a play because Ole was a big roamer as well. It's more just an actual individual skill thing where there's a lot of strong bot lanes, and can they not die or get pushed under their turret so Afro can actually go out and make those roam plays. So
Zika, I don't think you even need to explain why CLG is overrated, because I think it's just kind of self-explanatory. So thanks so much. No, I'm just kidding. Risen Lazarus in the chat freaking out about how I didn't ask you why they're overrated. Why do you think the team is overrated on the CLG side?
Well, Marks already did a good job of covering most of it. They're not really. Rainover and Biofrost aren't really going to be a good replacement for the shot calling that Smithy and Aphromoo brought in their time when they were the strongest team. And so it's really hard. I'm having a really hard time agreeing with Marks on his prediction number 3 in North America, because they lost so much of their identity that winning through teamwork is how Darshan, Huhi, and Ziggs have won for the past 2 or 3 years. And you take the number 1 teamwork guy on their team, Aphromoo, you remove him, and then you also bring in Rainover, who has a proven history of not being able to lead. I just don't think that this looks like a number 3 team.
So, playing devil's advocate a lot, they are a team with no definite weaknesses, I guess you would say, where they don't have a player who falls in the bottom half of the league in their position, arguably. Most of them are top half of the league players, so mechanically it should match up fine. They have a fantastic coaching staff. Attitude-wise, all those guys are people that everyone speaks of highly for having positive attitudes and wanting to work hard and things like that. So it is the kind of thing where I think they have some work to put in to like make up what they lost in their shot calling, but they have all the right tools to actually improve and do that.
I think that actually Rainover is not one of the best junglers in North America. I don't think he's top 5 at all. He doesn't have the leadership skills, but his mechanics haven't been impressive over the past year and a half. He, at his peak on Fnatic, or maybe a bit on IMT, he was a great Rek'Sai, Gragas tank jungle player, but whenever he played those on Liquid, he didn't manage to generate any leads on his own. I honestly was not impressed by his mechanical ability, and he could still have it, and I guess you could say that a lot of that was the issues TL had, but I haven't seen mechanical prowess that made me think, yeah, this guy is still a top jungler despite the team he's on.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the more contested points by a lot of analysts is how good will Rainover be and how much of his demise was the TL, Space Jam drain your powers effect.
Yeah. Zyka, thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for holding it down in Colorado. Hope you guys get some more snow soon.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Moving on to the next caller. Where was I? Oh, Jocelo 18 sub, Intrepid90, Gerbil 2013, Jordan B Sharkbait, Food and Blunts comes in with the 2 months. And then we got Crossbow Burrito, Ascent Acid, and the Great Jax, who resubbed and wishes there could be more EU talk. So hopefully we come up with some of that. Obviously, by the way, you shouldn't look at Twitch chat, because these guys, they'll just distract you.
I read Twitch chat, but I'm a fantastic multitasker.
Yeah. You'll just get caught, and then some people say like Avli's hair is weird right now because it's caught in the headset, which
My hair is fabulous.
and
Trent.
then it's
She has shit taste in anime, and then everyone
Come
down
at
the...
me.
you don't want to look at those guys; they're distracting.
Okay.
Carino is on the call. Is that how I pronounce it, Carino?
Yeah, you actually pronounced it correct. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Where are you calling from?
Kentucky.
Okay. And what's going on in Kentucky these days? Anything interesting? You guys have a derby?
We've gotten almost a foot of snow in the last 2 days.
All right, so we just need to
that's
get
quite a bit.
we need to get your snow to Colorado. We're working on
I
this.
would love that.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about on the show today?
I think that first of all, I think that C9 is not going to make playoffs in either split. Maybe they will get it together by the summer, but I don't think that they're going to have anything together. They downgraded in
Hold
both
on,
of the
let-
slots.
Let me stop you right there. The idea that like if C9 sucks, they're just gonna sit there with the same team.
Well, hang on. I want to hear the rest of his. Okay, so
Okay.
So they won't make playoffs in
Who could they
spring.
pick up? I don't. I mean, who could they pick up though? That's the problem. Is that like all of the good talent?
What if 100 Thieves blows dick and then Someday wants to leave and they pick up Sunday, they swap Sven for a native jungler, and then boom, they got Someday on their team. Who the fuck knows?
Sorry, Ollie.
Okay, all right. That's
We
fair.
try
That's fair.
not to have that language on this show.
That's
fair.
right. We're family friendly. It's
Yeah.
just Travis should be with a hand over button to hot mute me.
All right.
I mean, no, that's fair. That's absolutely. I mean, that's a good point. They could pick up somebody. I don't think that. I think that the Licorice criticism is 100% right on. I don't think that. I mean, I think you could have picked up a bunch of different top laners from Challenger that would have been, just as good as him. Because every time that he in the Challenger League, that he went up against, was it Gold Coin?
I forget if it was Gold
that the
Coin or
number one?
P1. It was one of the two.
Yeah, he got stomped on every time that he went up against them, and you're going to put him up against Impact, Huni. I mean, I just don't see him performing very well. And, Sven, that was the best move that TSM made in the offseason, was getting rid of Sven Skaren, in my opinion. But that's based on his Worlds performance. So maybe that's
Perennial,
not fair.
so you've obviously tilted. You've tilted Mark enough that he cut in here.
I was only wanted to chime in on the idea of the summer roster.
Well, we haven't even. Okay, so
Let's
you
just lop that part of the question off.
let's lock that off. So spring split. You think Licorice is going to be the downfall of C9? It sounds like.
I think he's going to be the most important. The most important part for
He's
that.
not
team.
even an
Either
import.
He's going to play. No. Important.
I know.
Important part
He's
of that.
trying to be funny.
I know.
Travis likes to take a word and use it incorrectly and be like, "Did you guys get it? I used that word wrong."
So he's
Clip
gonna
it, Reddit.
he's gonna be the most important aspect.
Yeah,
You're saying
either
okay.
he's going to succeed like certain people believe he will, and C9 will be okay. I don't think that that's going to happen, but he's either going to be the success or the downfall of their team.
Okay.
in my opinion.
And you think downfall very clearly.
Yeah, very clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think 100 Thieves, they're going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be top 4. I think they have the ability to be top 4. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, and I think FlyQuest is going to be last place.
Wow.
So that's
Where's
a hot
Golden
take.
Guardians?
I don't think they're going to make playoffs. I think they'll probably be like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere in there. Maybe 6th at the best, but probably 7th, 8th, or 9th.
Okay. All right. Ovly, what do you think? I know that you followed Cloud9 for a long time.
Well, yeah, I've just been making facial expressions this whole time because what triggered me was he doesn't think C9's going to make playoffs, period, this year, just because of this roster. Like, even if Licorice is just as crappy as maybe he thinks he is, like, loses an arm amputation or something, and then since Sven Skaren as bad as Reddit thinks he is, I just don't see how C9 is going to get beat by, like, Golden Guardians.
Wait, just a little bit ago, you were on the Golden Guardians hype train.
Yeah. I love Golden Guardians, but come on. They're going to beat Cloud9. They play Cloud9. Don't they play them on the second day or something? But, no, I just don't see that happening. I don't see Cloud9 maybe losing for the first half of the split. Maybe it just goes terribly, and they don't make some sort of a change. They don't make some sort...
What's
he's
your...
tilted me.
So I think everyone agrees Licorice is a wild card. Ovly, if you had to make a prediction, don't worry, you don't have to back it up. But if you had to make a prediction on Licorice, what's your guess? Does he stick around past the spring split?
I haven't seen too many of his games, but you know what? He seems like a sweet individual, and for that, I give him my blessing. No, but I
Okay.
think maybe he'll have I want to give him like a chance.
Yeah.
Like give him a few weeks to get settled into everything, but I think he has the potential to do great.
Okay.
I think he's going to have like a rough time in top lane, but I don't think he's just going to fall flat on his face.
Okay. He came up to me, as I discussed last week, at the New Year's party, introduced himself, was a nice guy. So he's got my vote of confidence. Carino, why would you say such awful things about a guy who's so polite?
He could be a wonderful person. I'm not attacking him as a person. I just don't think that he can stand up against some of the other top laners that are out there. Not to mention some of the other junglers that are going to be yanking his lane because he's going to be a weak link.
So to Carino's point, he did have a really nice challenger regular season performance, and for the most part, pretty good playoffs. But then he got picked apart a little bit in the promo relegation matches, if I remember correctly. So that was a little bit concerning. And I'm not sure I agree on the Sven point, though. Yes, if you get the Sven from Worlds, it's a disaster, but I don't think that's really how good Sven is. And I think it was one of those things like that happened with Smithy, where it was like, you know what? You just need to like sever the ties. The milk has gone bad. Whatever you want to say about it, like that roster didn't function correctly anymore.
Yeah, that's 100% agree on that.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Cranio, for a very hype conversation. Any final thoughts? Are you still sticking with your Cloud9 statement?
Yeah, no, I still am.
Okay.
I mean, they could change it up. I don't. I will back off a little bit, and I'll say that for spring, I don't think they're making.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to go back. The great thing is
okay.
this.
I mean, yeah,
you're an
they can
anonymous person from Kentucky. Everyone could be linking this clip as C9 fails to make playoffs in summer.
Right, that's what I was going to say. That's the
like
best thing is when you don't back down, and then you're right, and then you get to spam post this shit all over Travis and I's content.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the call, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Nice little wave there, Ollie.
Yeah, it's my first time, Travis. Could you
You could just say, I know, I like the wave. It was good. Do that at the end of every one of these.
Princess Diaries.
Is that from Princess Diaries?
Yeah. What's her name?
Efish has resubbed.
Tell us. Yeah.
Efish has resubbed. Ruby C subbed. Fruity Counter subbed. The Drizzle 24 and Engravesco subs and says, now put me in, Dad, at Ace. I don't know who Ace is. Poro Satan. Great name, by the way. Where are you calling from?
Thank you.
Hell?
I'm calling from Syracuse, New York.
Okay. So it's kind of, I feel like if Hell was frozen over, which, was where Poro Satan would be in a frozen Hell, Syracuse, New York would be a pretty good example of that. What's your? We've had some controversial opinions so far. The last one maybe the most. What's your takes this week?
I'm going to say that without a doubt, TSM is not making finals this year.
Either final.
Yeah, either final. I think that they've gutted too much of the core team. Mike Young is still a bit new to the playing at the pro level. He's only gone through one meta shift, and I think as soon as you get out of the meta he was in to where it looks like we're going with more tanks, he won't really be at home anymore.
Obviously, I'm just going to hand this one over to you because you did such a good job with the Cloud9 guy.
What do you want? You just want me to yell at these poor people? I feel like you're trying to make me like the bad guy. Like, oh, okay, Mark's smart. Oh, Travis is funny. Avali's just yelling at people. How do you not think TSM's going to make finals? They're going to go for the 4P. Let's go.
I mean, Twitch chat calls me a baby rager all the time, so you're not alone on the yelling at people.
Okay. Well, hang on. Before we get to that, so your main reasons, Poro Satan, is that they have changed too much of the main roster. Do you have any other assertions before I unleash?
They've changed too much, and I think without a doubt that CLG and Team Liquid are the best teams of the split.
Okay.
All right.
So you think those guys will make it every time?
Yeah, easily. We might see some stuff come out of Cloud9, but as people kind of said, I think there's going to be some growing pains with them. I do think they're looking more towards Worlds already, but there'll be growing pains.
Okay.
So I just want to point out the idea of changing too much of your roster is a pretty weird thing to hold against somebody in this environment when no team has brought back more than 3 players. And no team is like that consistent either, where like some of the groups of 3 players are joining new orgs, some groups of players have new coaches with them. There is an unbelievable amount of roster upheaval this offseason. So that feels a little strange to say they've changed too much of the core, because everyone's core changed for the most part.
Well, I feel like they're I think they're changing it in a way where it just doesn't make sense. Part of, from what I see of why they got rid of Biofrost, was that he wasn't making the shot calling that they wanted. So their idea is, let's pull in someone that can fill that role, while also changing the team so much as filling that role doesn't make sense anymore.
So I did the interview with Andy where he talked about this stuff. I don't think he was saying Biofrost isn't doing shot calling. He was saying that communication between support and jungle is very important, and neither of them were talking. So I don't think yeah, you're right. I think that they were looking to up the communication on the support side, but I don't think that they were necessarily saying Biofrost isn't a shot caller, we need a shot caller.
Sure. So like I can get that, but I think the replacements that they got are more than adequate. Sven and Mithy are pretty battle tested. They've been what people have said is the best bot lane in the West for the last 2 years, pretty much in Europe. I know Reckless has had his high moments as well, so it's contentious a little bit, but we are talking about one of the best bot lanes in the West, as well as the fact that in 2016, TSM completely changed their roster as well, and they did struggle for a little while, but that was mostly as a result of Yellow Star not meshing with the team, and they still made finals at Split, though they didn't win. So the idea of a team changing a lot and discovering themselves is not that foreign of a concept.
I pull into question TSM's coaching abilities now. Yes, I know that they just went through and got a new coach, so they are trying to adapt, but I think it's going to be kind of like last season's Team Liquid.
Right, but they didn't just get a coach. This isn't like they're swinging on Woodbuck and Jarge again or something. Song is proven in multiple regions as being one of the best coaches.
That's true, but if we look forward to the upcoming weekend, I think that easily Team Liquid would beat TSM, especially if we look at the bot lane. If we put Doublelift against ADC Sven, I think Doublelift wins easily.
Well, I'm not talking about the first day's matchup. I'm talking about your claim that TSM won't make a finals all year.
Well, because then if we just look at it, if we put Sneaky against ADC Sven, I think we get the same situation. Sneaky wins. The same with 6A versus Sven.
Obviously,
why do you think Sven is so bad?
I'll let Mark
Well,
keep going.
I'll shut up after he tells me why Sven is worse than 3 of North American AD carries.
I think that they have a very passive playstyle in Europe that won't work well in NA, which there is a bit of an irony to it because it's the super aggressive NA ADCs that don't do well in Worlds. So Sven is a good international ADC, but he won't work well in NA.
Obviously, we'll wrap up the conversation with you. Do you think that it's fair to say that TSM will? What is your prediction? Do they make it to both finals? Do they only make it to one? And what do you kind of think about all this?
I mean, last year they were very much like, oh, we're not, trying to get first and everything. We just want to go into Worlds and everything. But I think they have a strong roster. I think they'll make it to finals. Okay. I don't know who's going to join them.
Both
in
splits
finals yet. Both splits.
Okay, very good.
Let's start with spring.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, maybe.
TSM fan is just going to TSM. They're going to win everything. They're going to first place in Worlds. Goodbye, Korea.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you, Poro Satan. Any letter of apology or statement of apology you want to say to the Twitch chat, which is not your biggest fan right now?
I guess really the final thing I would say is we shouldn't just assume that TSM is going to do well because they're TSM. We kind of saw that with the mediocreness of CLG over the past few years. And they are in a hard spot of they have a target on their back being in first place for so long. The only place they have to go is down.
Yeah. That's true. Or stay exactly where they've been. Thank you so much, Poor Satan. Have a good one.
For literally every split.
I mean, it's bold prediction. Again, like, this is the fun. I will never. I love it when people call and say crazy shit. So
I love it, and I'm going to argue. And hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yes. By the way, and Mark, maybe while you're here too, one thing that I know that we've tried to do in the past is try and get people to, talk a little bit about, if you have any. We don't have to just do predictions because we have Ovly on the show today. And I know sometimes we have questions for Loco or statements, or people want to talk about Loco about something. Here, if you want to talk to Ovly about collegiate esports, which I know is something she's super passionate about, hosting, how do you get into all this stuff, content creation, whatever you want to talk to her about too. Happy to take some of those calls as well. So if people want to light that up. And by the way, as Mark goes in to grab our next caller, in the subs chat, I will say, or if you are a sub, you do get access to the sub chat section of Discord. So if you're a sub, please feel free to put questions or statements or thoughts in that chat as we do check there. And it gives you a little bit of an advantage, I think, as we, a little bit less conversation going on there, a higher chance of getting caught or picked. Zilchers is joining the show right now. Zilchers, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. Okay, what bold, crazy prediction do you want to make since we're on a roll right now?
I think mine is going to make a little bit less waves than everybody else's.
Okay, well, maybe we need that. The show needs to calm down for a second.
Maybe. I'm feeling that Golden Guardians are going to be the number one team out of the gates, like the strongest out of the gates.
Whoa, okay. You said it was going to be a lot less, but that's a pretty bold statement. So you expect Golden Guardians to look the best out of all the teams this split at the beginning.
Yeah, and I have a second part to that prediction. I think if they really play their cards right and improve at the same rate as everyone else, I think there's a decent chance that they might get top 4.
Okay.
By the end of the strip.
All right, so I'll let you make your argument. So that's your thesis. What's your supporting evidence?
So when I look at Golden Guardians roster, lore low, contracts high, definitely in Matt. I see a lot of what I think of moldable players. I see a lot of wet clay. And I think that High, his best environment is when he's surrounded by players that he can really influence to do what he wants and kind of enact his game plan without much second thought. And I think there's enough rookie power and players that in a lot of situations have been those players for their team that they can fill that role, which will push them out to the same start that he had on FlyQuest last year. But I also think there's a lot more potential talent on the squad. So I think if they improve at a decent rate, they have a place among the top 4. That one's definitely reaching, but I think it might be possible.
All right.
Ovly, you're the resident Golden Guardians hype man. You're the Flava Flav.
People just think that, okay, I'm not saying that Golden Guardians is going to take first and everything. I'm just saying that I want to see them. Travis, I got this.
Zilchers is.
I'm just saying that I would like to see them succeed. And yes, I'm a little biased because I know a lot of the people on there are a bunch of weebs. But I agree. I think the Golden Guardians, they're going to take off beginning of the split.
Do you think that they will look the strongest? I'm just curious how much you're willing to align with Zilchers here.
Well, Zilchers, to clarify his point, was that they would start the hottest.
That's
and then they would end up top 4. It's not like they were the best over the course of the split.
I'm just saying, so there you go, Ovly. Do you think that they will start the hottest and then land top 4?
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to end in top 4. That's sad to say, but there's no way that they're going to beat TSM, TL, etc. But I think they're going to. They're going to what?
Documented here first that I was the only one right out of all of you. They're gonna win finals.
Clip it. Post it on Twitter, post it on your Facebook. But I do think that they're going to surprise us because I know a lot of people just don't expect too much from it. People are placing it like the bottom of their rankings, but I think they're going to surprise us.
Okay.
I'm very open to be proven wrong with a FlyQuest-esque spring split where they were at points challenging for number 1 early on, and then they dropped down to 7th before rounding out making the playoffs and upsetting somebody and getting 4th place. I could see a world that's close to that. I'm not sure I'm ready to buy in quite as hard where they're going to get 4th, but I think a lot of the same strengths are there where they, Moon and High ended up working well together and stuff like that. Maybe Contracts and High work well together like they did in Challenger, and they don't have to worry about language barrier, and everyone's been in the scene a fair amount. Like, even though they're all young, Deftly is the youngest. The other guys have all played for multiple years, so it's not like they're really rookies or anything. So I could see a world where they find their groove the fastest.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I also think that the main reason I say that they can get top 4, because when I look at everybody but High, I feel like it's a pretty decent, just flat upgrade from FlyQuest. I think that Matt, although he's had his struggles, is a much stronger mechanical player than Elimination was last year. I think definitely has a lot of potential. I think Lorlo has had his really high moments, and we've all seen how great Contracts is. But I suspect he'll probably be more on the level that Moon was on at the start of last spring split. But that's really the whole basis. There's really nothing more to the top 4 argument than player upgrades, and they have plenty of cheese to back it up.
So who's your top 4? And if you mentioned this, I just want to review it. So your top 4 is Golden Guardians, and who are the other 3?
Golden Guardians definitely number 4 if they make it. I think TSM will eventually get there. Maybe. I'm a little bit of a naysayer for TSM. I think they'll definitely be there at least by summer split.
So do you think there's a chance TSM might not make top 4 in spring?
Now that you say it back to me, probably not. No, they probably will.
You just don't want to go on the record with that.
Yeah. I mean,
he's hoping for it.
Yeah.
They've had the 3-peat, man. I don't know if I can bet on that.
Okay.
I'll put them at number 3 just because of my cynical attitude.
Okay.
I think Cloud9 is definitely there. I think they're a little bit slept on. I think Jensen is a beast. And I do not ever believe in super teams, so I'm actually going to put CLG up there as well.
So Team Liquid performs below Golden Guardians is your prediction?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my prediction. Sorry, Double Lift.
Don't apologize to him. He doesn't care about your opinion. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Zilchers, thank you so much. I think, my opinion, Golden Guardians won't get relegated. That's my prediction for those guys. I think they're going to be safe.
We can both be right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the call and for your bold prediction. Hope things go well in Virginia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, getting in the next call. So I had a couple things. Nemsic resubbed at the $9.99 tier. I think he or she is the only person at that tier, by the way, so thanks to them. Apologies if I'm forgetting anybody else. He says, I love you all. Donkey Punch Dan resubbed, and then OPTSM fan donated $10 and said, Ovally, what's up, Mark? You like that name?
Donkey Punch Dan?
Yeah, you like that a lot? I was trying to gloss over it. I didn't want. OPTSM fan donated $10 and said, Ovally is the best guest you've had with her mad takes and baby rage. She should host. Sorry, Travis. LOL. Also, I've done my own power rankings, and I can tell you why TL is overrated and C9 is underrated. Also, I'm surprised by these hot takes that are just bad. That's a long message. Let's keep it short in the future. Thank you so much for your support, OPTSM fan. Gerbil's on the show. I feel like you've been on before, Gerbil. Am I crazy?
Not on this show, but like when you had the talk show with Emily and Kelsey, I did a bunch of questions.
That's right. Okay, thank you.
So,
well, good to have you back. Good to hear from you for the first time. Where are you calling from?
I am from the actual boonies. I am from the middle of Iowa.
The middle of Iowa. There's a competition on this show for some reason between all the people that live in the middle of nowhere, and they all try to figure out what the most.
My town's population is even lower than yours.
Yeah.
So I'm from a town of like 2,500, and I live in town, and I'm surrounded by cornfields. So.
Okay. How many people were in your graduating class?
48.
48. Okay, that's
there
a
were
pretty...
less than 200 in my high school. So.
Okay, all right.
Jeez.
All right, well, I am excited to find out what living in the middle of nowhere with so few people have inspired in terms of opinions and thoughts from you, because I think it'll be good.
Well, I get to watch a lot of your content because there's nothing to do. But
I mean,
my take
people should
was-
just even in a world where there's everything to do, people should watch my content. Gerbil, what's your your take?
So basically, my take was about Golden Guardians. I'm a little afraid we're gonna get a Breaking Point 2.0 because I know it sounds really weird and like I want the team to do really well, but the problem is there's just so much hit or miss on that team. There's a lot of sort of unproven stuff, and you get personalities like Hai, who is like, let's be real, he's loved the drama all the time. Like him and Medios always fought. If you've ever seen a video, like Cloud9 used to post them, there were videos of like Hai and Lemon, and they were like borderline screaming at each other. And then you throw Loco into the mix, like, oh man, that's kind of fun to think about. So I'm just kind of curious as to how well you guys think that roster will mesh, and if they'll be able to do anything. Because I mean, there's some promise there. Like the year of Lurlo, Contracts was really good, but sometimes he had some really low lows. And can Hai reach his level, and is definitely going to be any good? I don't know. Same with Matt.
I like Twitch chat's bending point. Like,
That's pretty good. I think yeah, that's good.
I could see a conflict between Loco and Hai, but that's the only point of tension I really see cropping up. Like, the issues in Breaking Point were largely surrounded by Piglet, Dardoch, and Loco, specifically more Loco and Dardoch. And while Hai is someone who people argue with, and he's not the type to back down, he can get heated, and he's probably a little prideful, I don't think it's to the degree that Dardoch has been, where he's been kicked off 3 teams. I think there's a degree of separation between those two guys.
I mean, we should have gone to Ovely first, because this is your chance to defend Golden Guardians.
True.
Well, is this what this has become now? But wait, so your point was just you think that there's going to be a lot of drama surrounding it, just with Loco, Hai. I don't.
Yeah, he said Breaking Point 2.0.
Because Hai is always super opinionated, and he's always been like, this is the way things should be, and Loco is the exact same way. And Dardoch had that issue with where he would start defending Lurlo or Matt or something like that, and Loco would kind of just be like, oh, whatever, he start rolling his eyes and stuff. When I was just kind of curious, you think Hai will be kind of like that, or?
I think Hai or Loco would be smart enough to tolerate each other for long enough to be able to recognize a problem and then maybe fix it. I feel like Breaking Point just covered so much or over such a long period of time that it was just all of this buildup that people were finally ready to go for the throat or something. But I don't think we're going to get a Breaking Point 2.0. I don't think that's ever going to happen again, not publicly at least.
I mean, I hope it happens. I'd love to see Breaking Point 2.0. But
Weren't you one of those people who was like, this isn't good for
No,
the industry?
I was the only person that supported it on Esports and Chill. Like, Hunter was talking about how terrible it was. By the way, that's why you won't get Breaking Point 2.0. Hunter, the guy on Esports and Chill, that my old show that used to talk about how terrible of an idea Breaking Point was, is now the guy running Golden Guardians. So you're not going to get that. But at least a documented version of it. I will say that when the announcement came out, and I don't think I've said this publicly, Loco and Hai are 2 very, very big personalities that are very confident in their own opinion. Mm-hmm. And I do think if there is going to be tension on Golden Guardians or any issues that occur, it'll be because those 2 butt heads a lot. So I think, yes, that is, you have correctly identified, at least in that way, Durable, the potential issue with that roster and that lineup.
Right, and I think it's the kind of thing where if it gets to the Medios Hai level of arguments where one of them needs to be replaced, you could see a Breaking Point-esque type of like break down the team. But who knows if it gets there. And we'll have to see. I know Loco is pretty adamant that he's matured a lot since then, because that was almost a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Has he, though?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I think, yeah, it's easy to say you're mature until suddenly you're in that argument with somebody and things get tight.
I mean, nothing against him. I'm sure he's a great coach and all, but even on the show last week, you could see him getting a little argumentative with some of the callers. So.
Yeah, I mean this
yeah,
is
but
a different environment than a team thing.
Yeah,
True,
we're
true,
supposed to be dicks here.
Yeah, did you see? Everybody thought Ollie was the nicest person until that person insulted Cloud9, and then she got very argumentative.
That
with the
guy's
caller.
just an idiot. But...
Come at me.
Very good. I mean, I think we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't think Breaking Point, but I do think that there maybe are some issues for Golden Guardians. Thanks so much, Gerbil, for calling in.
Yeah, thanks. Look forward to your content.
Thanks.
Pretty reasonable opinion, I think, to point out that people have been a little too positive on Golden Guardians.
Yeah. Ovly, if you had to predict a team to implode this split, who would you predict?
Ooh, I don't know. I'd have to look over everyone again.
Echo Fox is the correct answer.
Yeah.
You're trying to be so polite. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many teams has he been on?
you don't even say the name. All right.
It's just one thing I was gonna bring it up when he was talking. A lot of the times when you have two big personalities bumping heads, I think teams have gotten better about getting like mediators or people like not psychological coaches or someone to help facilitate group discussion.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty important thing to have, and I think a lot of teams are picking them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I think teams have claimed to have that in the past, and then shit still goes down. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Feats has subscribed. Feed and Troll has subbed. Sculpted Soldier, Fragbait Light, and Zanzan31. Thanks so much, you guys, for the subs. Really appreciate it. Helps us going. AJ is on the show. Is this the AJ that's been on the show previously?
He's a sub.
Yes. AJ, welcome back. I feel like you had a different Skype name or Discord name previously.
No, same one.
Okay. AJ, where are you calling from again?
Canada.
Oh, yeah, but isn't Canada pretty big? I feel like you gave us a more...
Were you the guy who tried avoiding, like, pinpointing where he was?
I'm not that guy.
Okay.
AJ, what's your take? What's your opinion?
Looking at, I did my own little, just looking at the teams, and I kind of ranked them myself. And I've been looking at other people's rankings, and I see a lot of people put FlyQuest low, but no one's putting them last, and I don't really understand why. Because roster, I just kind of like there's a lot of no names on there for the most part. I feel like Flame is their best player. He was in my mind like a bottom half top laner, and then he elevated to top half in the summer split. So he might be good, but it depends on whether he can keep up that summer level. And then Anda, I'd like never even heard of him. I had to look him up, and apparently, as far as I know, he was just like a good like solo queue player in career or something like that. I don't know. I mean, solo queue, I don't know how well that transitions. And then I don't know. 5 is just a good or challenger series, and I'm not confident Wild Turtle can carry them, and Stunt's okay. I don't know. There's just no firepower or anything. It just seems like a very...
Yeah, so questionable. So you're questioning FlyQuest. Did you say that you're putting them 10th? What? I saw your mic light up. I think we got a little bit of lag on your end.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you're cutting out. You said that they're 10th?
Yeah, I have them 10th.
Okay. All right. Ovly or Mark, either one of you guys want to disagree with that assessment or agree?
I would like to disagree. I don't think they'll be 10th. And this is partially more of like, I don't think I have great like convincing evidence for why it'll be this way. But I do have a lot of faith in their coaching staff, and maybe it's a little misplaced, but Rapid Star has coached for SKT. I believe it was RNG. It might have been EDG, but he was a coach for them as well. He's always been coaching for successful teams. Robert Yip from Immortals, who people say is really good, is there. And then, are you getting Ovly's thing?
I don't know. Is that from Ovly?
What?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like the coaching combined with, I think Flame is pretty good. I think he's more like his summer split self. Onda, who is Churong, and Stunt don't particularly impress me. Fly is also he feels like a really big team player, and if the team isn't like doing well, I don't think he'll carry. And then, like you said, Wild Turtle's not a bunch of firepower, so I don't have enough confidence to say they're going to make playoffs. But I do think that the coaching staff and what seems to be a relatively easygoing roster in terms of personality should mean that they'll find a groove, and maybe they never do and they do end up 10th, but I have more faith in them to do that than some of these other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like when I look at the other teams, like the two teams that are like the closest and just ahead are Golden Guardians and Optic to me. And while neither of those teams look great either, I see both of them seem to have a little bit more star power, like guys who could potentially just, light up out of nowhere. Like I look at Golden Guardians and I see Contracts and maybe even High. Both those guys have been good, and Contracts recently good. And then with Optic, I mean, PoE has had his good moments, and I think people are selling Acadian a little bit short. So both those teams, I feel like, have like potential guys that could maybe do really well. Whereas with FlyQuest, Flame is pretty much the only guy I see that might have a chance to do well. Other than that, I just don't see where anything could happen for them.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think like the couple teams who are battling for like will they be 10th or like a bottom of the barrel playoff team, like you said, with FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, Optic, and even to an extent Echo Fox. Like I think it's hard to pick out of them exactly how that order shakes up, and maybe I'm putting too much faith in the coaching staff to find a play style that fits this team.
Very good. Thank you so much, AJ. Really appreciate the call. Sorry, we're trying to rotate pretty quickly because we want to get some more people in. And Mark and I are looking for people who want to talk to Avali about any of her specialties as well, collegiate and otherwise, her role on the broadcast desk, etc. Avali, can you talk a little bit? Just so I want to see how your mic's doing.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No, there's just a
being
little
weird
bit,
or something?
a little bit of static. I think it might have been your hair brushing against the microphone or something. I'm not sure. So
Okay, I'll just shave my head really fast. 1 sec.
thank you. Can you get just an undercut? An undercut would be good too.
What?
You know
No.
what an undercut is? Like they cut the side.
No.
GJ Bird is joining us. Bird, where are you calling from?
I am also from Grand Junction, Colorado.
Really?
I can confirm, yes.
Okay.
Zyke and I are actually pretty good friends and love esports, so...
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it far
yeah.
less.
Aww.
So, yeah, we're homies. Also, he doesn't rage like Tower 1, but he plays a pretty mean Draven, so...
Okay. All right. Whatever. I don't
Right.
care about your friend. Let's get into the point.
Okay,
What do you
all right,
What do you
all
got
right.
for us,
So,
Bird?
I wanted to talk about a little bit with collegiate esports and the
Okay.
NCAA, which basically oversees all other varsity sports in colleges and universities across the U.S. This can kind of sound like a boring topic to people who don't really pay attention to it.
Oh.
It's really, really nuanced and has a lot of room for just to glaze over. But I think as collegiate esports keeps rising, as we've seen with Robert Morris and programs like that being welcomed by Riot and Invitationals, that NCAA shouldn't get involved in collegiate esports for a couple of reasons. So first of all, I just want to go over fundamentally what the NCAA is trying to do and all the other major sports in the U.S. If you look at football, if you look at baseball, if you look at basketball, what they pretty much do is they broadcast it on traditional sports broadcasting, basically on TV networks like ESPN, CBS, NBC, stuff like that, which isn't where esports fans usually watch League of Legends because it's not on traditional television. And in fact, when it's on traditional television, there's usually a lot of backlash against it. So with platforms like Twitch, I don't think the NCAA should get involved with that and ruin a good thing that Riot has going. And moving on,
wrap it up soon because I want to get to your point. Yeah.
So basically, the NCAA will want to monetize it, which I don't think Riot would let them do. Also, when you look at people who are streaming on Twitch, financial rules with NCAA and financial compensation, I don't think are really compatible with esports, because if people want to stream and are good players at the collegiate level and receive financial compensation for it, I think that they should be able to. And those are a couple reasons that I think the NCAA shouldn't get involved with college esports, but there's a bunch more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm open to your
So
guys'
your general argument is fuck the NCAA. That's what
It's
that's what I
not.
get
It's
from
not
it.
like screw the NCAA. The NCAA has done a lot of good stuff. I just don't think that they should ruin a good thing.
Okay.
Going.
Ovally, now's your time to
mean-
shine.
Yeah, college esports. You never let me talk about it. I totally understand and agree with what you're saying about the NCAA. I've heard a lot of that about the same too. Esports is my jam. I actually know nothing about the sports world, so everything that I've heard about the NCAA has been about people saying, "Don't let it get involved in college esports." I mean, speaking to trying to put it on like TV or trying to put it on ESPN, there's been like random bits of successes. Like if you look at the college Heroes of the Dorm scene, they ended up putting like a really dumbed down version of Heroes of the Storm on the ESPN broadcast on like one of their random ones, and it did like okay, not that great, to where they put it on Facebook the next year. But I think Riot's doing a better job with partnering with these conferences and trying to get in with the administrations for college esports and trying to build kind of like an infrastructure within all of these amazing universities so that it's not just like these token RMU schools or things that are just popping up to be esports just so they can say, hey, we're esports. I went a little bit on a tangent, just forgot, but yeah, I don't think.
Well, and so I know,
NCAA
Mark, you're more of like a sports fan, so maybe you have an opinion on that from the NCAA side specifically.
For people liking or disliking, it basically boils down to a lot of people feel like the NCAA is a very greedy corporate machine exploiting people and basically suppressing their ability to make money for the sake of college sports. A lot of these players are people who can compete at the pro level. They're being artificially hamstrung so that they can't, and it buys time for the colleges or whoever to make money off people who don't really get anything in return other than a free ride to a school that they're never going to graduate from because they're going to go pro or something. So there's a lot of negative opinions of the NCAA with regards to like big major sports. I'm not sure how people feel where the NCAA is in something more like swimming or track or all those other events.
Yeah, I go to a Division II school, so I think the NCAA has done a lot of good things. But in regards to financial compensation, I feel as though when you look at people who stream and esports personalities that stream and get money and advertiser revenue, like the NCAA wouldn't let a guy play football at a university because his YouTube channel had so many subscribers and he was getting ad revenue off it, so they wouldn't let him play. I feel like that's not fair to athletes, specifically in esports, if they were to get involved, and I feel like it'd shut down a lot of potential there. So,
yeah, I thought I'd heard. So I admittedly was very ignorant about what the announcement was and all this stuff. I was just aware that it was happening because I've been kind of distracted by the NALCS coming in. But my understanding was that the partnership was safer and was sort of it did a good job of addressing a lot of people's concerns about all this.
So I'm not sure like how many agreements there are with the NCAA in collegiate programs, but if they were to like take the ultimate step to overseeing it like they do traditional sports, then I definitely think that that'd be a problem.
Well, one thing I can guarantee you is that Riot's never going to give up complete control over anything that they do. For better or worse, and in this case it sounds like it's for better. So they're never going to be like, here you go, NCAA, do whatever you want, because they have too much of a desire to control the final product.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big conflict with NCAA too, because they'll in the end want to monetize it like the Final Four in the college football playoff. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think Riot will care if they monetize it, right? Like even whenever Yahoo ran a collegiate show with Riot, we were looking at ways to monetize it, but I think I don't know. I'm not too worried about it yet, I guess is what I would say. But your point of bringing up concerns for it, I think, are fair. Thank you, GJ Bird.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you for talking about collegiate esports.
Yeah.
And thank you for having salient points.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like we've got about 5 more callers and 30 minutes to do it in. So let's see what we can do.
Oh, I didn't realize we had that time.
Well,
Christ.
we can go over a couple minutes, but generally the show's like 2 hours long.
All right. Do you want Emily next, or do you want me to continue on with like the proper order?
You do whatever you want to do, Mark.
No, you tell me. Okay, Emily.
Jay Waking has said, "What is going on with you? Are you losing your voice?"
What?
Okay, you've been
I
close.
was whispering Emily
Okay.
this. It's like Emily. Like a
Jay
cheering
Waking
thing. Have
has
you ever had
subbed. Parker
cheer for you
817.
before?
Emily, if you're watching, you need to unmute in Discord and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Alright. Wait,
Hello.
Oh, I hear
I'm
him.
not done yet. Emily, wait.
Emily is here. You're done.
Parker
Travis.
817 has subbed, and
Travis, we
Unstruck-
only have 30 minutes to get through 5 callers.
These
Emily
subs.
takes priority.
These subs are the backbone of the show. I need to
Nope.
pay rent. Ungstrup has subbed. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got Emily calling into the show. Where are you calling from, Emily?
I'm calling from Los Angeles, California.
Well, really? How long have you lived there?
Since the last year, around this time.
And what's the weather
Almost
like?
been a year. It's, I guess, chilly for LA, but super warm for me because I'm from Boston and I don't know. I'm still not used to having like no weather.
Yeah, very good. Well, what would you like to talk about on the show today?
Someone actually just brought this up in Twitch chat, but this is my
All right, well,
question
then it's
that I
over.
submitted
No, just kidding.
previously, which is, what do you guys think? I know we talked about this a little bit on League Weekly initially when franchising was discussed, but what do you guys think about the possibility that NALCS will consider geo relocation in the future? Especially given what is going on in the LPL right now, with 3 teams already having like home stadiums where they will be having home and away games with the LPL. And then obviously, I know a lot of people are looking at the way Overwatch League managed to organize viewing parties in different cities, trying to bring in local fans already from the get-go. So do you guys think they're keeping their eye on that? And do we think it would ever be a feasible thing for NA?
Probably. You brought Emily here. You can answer her
I
question.
was really hoping for a question about Citrus or anime, but
Holy shit.
What is Citrus an anime? Or you
it
just
doesn't matter.
Yes.
Listen, let's talk about franchising and all these wonderful locations. I think definitely watching to see how Overwatch works would be a great thing for Riot if they're trying to consider it, because I mean, there's your experiment without having to experiment. I would be interested in seeing different, like having LCS over different locations, like what they're doing with LPL, but would the players be happy? I don't think they would.
Twitch chat says Citrus is an anime about gay girls.
That's not true.
Those are called lesbians, and it is. And, yeah, I don't know why you're denying that.
I'm not saying it's not. Oh, you mean
No,
obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, what's your opinion?
I didn't watch it.
I'm talking about League, Mark.
Oh. I would not want to be like the first mover on this. I think the idea of pairing teams up with cities just to like try to incentivize fan bases and stuff, even if it's slightly artificial, I don't hate the idea. I don't think I'd want to like rebrand all the teams quite like they do for Overwatch. And then it depends how far the Overwatch League is going. Like, I've heard that what they're going to do is they're going to have like weeks of competition at different geolocated places. So like they'll do 3 weeks here and then like 3 weeks in London and 3 weeks in Korea and whatever. And so I guess I start getting more hesitant on the idea of like moving the show around due to logistical issues with broadcast. Maybe you have a studio at all those locations, but then like you said, the players are not going to want to travel that often, so you'd have to do like a couple weeks at a place. It's the kind of thing where, you know, it doesn't feel necessary, so we can watch other people try it, and if it's going well, emulate it.
Yeah, I think Overwatch League is probably 2 years out from this at least. And my suspicion is, and what I think Riot should do if they decide to go this route, is you split East Coast, West Coast. And so you've got 2 studios, and you have a studio in New York, and you've got a studio in LA, and you have half your teams there and half your teams there, and then you somehow do some sort of meetup thing or whatever. Then you eventually create a North and a South and an East and a West, so maybe Chicago and Austin, and you kind of expand that way, and that's how you slowly start to geolocate. But I do not see a world where in the near future where Overwatch League or NALCS is going to have 12 different stadiums all over, and you've got the teams traveling. It's just not. We're not there yet.
The Chinese experiment is so interesting because you do have 3 teams that already have home venues split with OMG, Snake, and LGD. So if anyone is interested, you can look to see how that ends up working out for those 3 teams.
Yeah,
because then the rest of the games are played in Shanghai at the old place.
When you have over 1 billion people, I think stuff starts to change, Well, I'm very excited to see how that works. It'll be cool.
I think that NA fans need to take how to be fan lessons from the Chinese fans because they are absolutely crazy and I love them, and they have all of these wonderful signs. They don't all just say free Tyler 1. They have pictures of the players, and everything is so finger painted, hand drawn and perfect, and I want more Chinese fans.
All right,
Tyler 1 has been freed. What's left to complain about?
Yeah, now we're going to have no
see.
signs.
Yeah, what are the signs going to be this split?
I hope it's
Put
still
him back
all
in
just.
jail.
I hope it's all just free Tyler 1 still. He's still locked up.
No, but
all
even
right.
at All Stars, the Chinese fans were just rushing everything, and there was people who flew from China to come watch All Stars here. I love them.
They were the only ones that came to watch All Stars. All right, thank you so much, Emily, for your call. Really
Thank you for having
appreciate
me.
Keep
We
holding
didn't
it
talk
down.
about anime, though.
I'm sure I'll see you at LCS this weekend.
There's literally the rest of your lives to talk about anime. Do it not on the show.
All right.
You kick her out. Just jeez, Travis, you're aggressive.
Listen, we've got 22 minutes.
I was promised anime. I'm just going to say that.
Merging Lanes has sub. Thank you, Merging Lanes.
We don't have time, Travis. We have to go.
Go.
Right
Who's
now.
the next
We
caller?
have to go.
Oh,
He's
Shotgun.
in here already. Jesus.
Shotgun
Pay
is
attention.
in the call. How's it going, Shotgun? Where are you calling from?
Doing good. Calling from Youngstown, Ohio. It's pretty cold here.
Youngstown, Ohio. I think our second... No, so the other person was from Iowa. I get all the states mixed up. So, what do you got for us, Shotgun?
So I had a couple of things. The big thing that I had was I think Golden Guardians was pretty crazy for signing Loco Doco with the team that they had, because Matt and Lorlo seem to have a pretty negative relationship with Loco, and I think the quote that I had earlier was "You got to be Loco to sign the Doco."
Are you looking for applause after that?
Totally.
These guys just groan when I make those types of jokes, so you don't need applause for applause there.
When you said you were looking for a quote, I thought you meant literally someone else had said that about Loco.
Yeah.
I think somebody else has said that in the past, because I feel like I don't think I made that up, but I did say it or taking credit for it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that joke. So your main thing is Golden Guardians shouldn't have signed Locodoco, and you waited till the show where he wasn't on to call in to say this.
I missed the other show because I actually wanted to talk to him about that, and I missed it, and I felt super bad.
Okay. All right. So, you think is it entirely because of the Lorlo and Matt relationship?
Yeah, and also I think Hai and Loco are just both big personalities that might clash, but I feel like Hai is more agreeable than Loco is. Even on the stream, I did catch some of it on YouTube. Loco was kind of abrasive at times, so I feel like that might be an issue.
Yeah, so previous caller brought this up, but I think we decided that you shouldn't judge people by how they behave on this show. Brings out the worst in people very clearly. But yeah, I mean, isn't it standard reason that Matt and Lorlo were aware that Locodoco was going to be part of the team, or that they could have consulted? Matt, do you think that this happened in a vacuum where suddenly like Locodoco shows up on the team and Matt and Lorlo are on the team and they're like, whoa, what crazy to bump into you here?
No, I don't think it's quite like that, but I do think that it's very possible that, like, as players, they're just thinking, oh, we can move on, go to a new situation, maybe things will be different, and I just don't know how true that'll end up being, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, I assume that that at least there was a discussion, right? That if these guys didn't have that great of a relationship, this would have been brought up before they built the roster, though who knows? LCS teams do crazy shit. But I think, as we kind of discussed earlier, Loco, I identify as Loco and High, but Loco is a risk given his past experiences. Did you have a chance to see? Sorry to plug my stuff again. I actually don't mean it this time to shill, but did you happen to see my interview with Loco last year? At the end of last year?
The one on moving day? No, I missed most of the moving day interviews.
So I think, I am very skeptical of Loco in most situations, but I will admit I was a little surprised at the way he handled that interview and some of the stuff he kind of confessed to, and then the way that he said he's looking to grow and change himself as a coach, and it makes me feel like things will be a little different. And I don't worry too much about Matt and Lorlo when it comes to Loco, because I don't feel like, from watching Breaking Point, that they were the main, if there was any conflict between those two and Loco, it felt like it was more, runoff from the Dardoch stuff. So that's why I'm not as concerned about it. I don't know if Avli or Mark want to chime in on this at all, but sounds like
I mostly agree with what you were saying, that I think Loco has become a more tolerable. Boy, that's going to come out wrong. He is more tolerant of disagreements and arguments. I wasn't going to say he's become more tolerable. Yeah. And I think his time with GCU and stuff like that, working with younger players, was something he enjoyed as well. He's had some veteran presences on that team as well. So I think that was a good time for him. And I'm going to guess that after GCU didn't make it into the LCS and all that, they probably had good things to say about him. Otherwise, if like that time was an abomination or anything like it was during his time on Team Liquid, I don't think that they would be like, hey, Golden Guardians, Locodoco was like an awesome coach and you should hire him or something. I'm sure most of those guys had positive things to say about him. And I hope they did their due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Hey, thanks so much, Shotgun. Did you have anything else you want to throw out there before you depart?
I think there is going to be at least one team that's super going to regret not picking up Froggen. I think he's the best mid without a team right now.
Yeah. But what if is he the best mid? Is he better mid than any of the other mid laners right now?
Arguably Ryu, at least in lane, I would say. Because I honestly didn't feel like Ryu was a super strong pickup for 100 Thieves, and they're kind of my team because I live near Cleveland. I'm a big Cavs fan, so.
Mark, you were talking earlier a little bit about P1. Any thoughts on the idea that Froggen might be better than Ryu?
That's really hard to say. I'm not particularly hot on either of them. I know Prawley has firsthand experience with Ryu and probably knows he can reach him in some level. And I think Ryu in spring was better than Froggen was. Ryu in summer was worse than Froggen was. Froggen hasn't won much of anything in the past 3 years. I think he's still perfectly fine as an individual, but doesn't play the game in quite the right way to be a winner. So if I can understand Prawley's perspective of, I'd rather take something I know that I can work with, and hopefully he was just demotivated and burnt out and hated his life, and it was a bit of a more of a depression situation than literally becoming a bad player, versus Froggen, who you just don't think can be a strong carry. Because I can't imagine Meteos and Froggen getting along or something.
Yes, as Mark said, hopefully he hated his life.
As the reason he didn't play well, not generally.
I was unaware of the Probably Ryu having previous experience, and then I had one last thing, and that was just how much did you take champion pool into account on your power rankings, Mark? Because I feel like, especially like with Afromu being like a super engagey support, and with all the engaged supports being super meta right now, I feel like that really takes 100 Thieves up a tick.
I didn't really factor meta in super hard. It's just the kind of thing that usually fluctuates a fair amount. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Like, we had a whole spring split of utility, flat armor pen, lethality 80 carries. Maybe we end up with these kinds of supports. Maybe they nerf Targons pretty heavily because it's getting abused super fucking hard in the bot lane right now, and then melee supports fall off and we're back to Karma Lulu stuff. Who knows?
Well, the reason I was thinking about it is just like Aftershock, Fauna Life type carries or supports, especially, I feel like are super strong. Like even like something stupid like Scion support, because it engages really well, could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, people are playing Alawi, and once that's an option, who the fuck knows?
That's a good note. Shotgun, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. See ya.
I'll see ya. And I think you're a sub, by the way. Thank you so much for subbing.
Yep, no problem.
Woohoo! All right. We got just a couple more callers left. Audley, how you doing? You holding in there? I know we talked about you only being on here for a little bit, so I just want to check in, make sure you're doing all right.
I'm good. I was just worried about my voice, but I can talk, so.
Yeah, very good.
All right, we'll get...
I was promised anime, though, so.
Were you?
You said I could talk about weird stuff.
What?
Didn't
Where?
you? I'm gonna go back through my chat records.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I feel like I need to check this out too.
Yeah, now I'm gonna go look through it.
All right, we got Risen Lazarus.
The legend.
Yeah, returning after his ranty argument with Kelby.
I didn't even say anything.
Lazarus,
Higher call.
thank you very much for being a sub. Where I think though, did you sub or did somebody else gift you that?
Not
sub?
a sub.
Wait.
Corey Lulu forced me to be a sub.
Yeah. All right. Well, bye, Risen Lazarus. It was good having you on the show. All right, he's back. I'm just kidding. Thank you much for having being a sub via Corey Lulu's donation. Where are you calling from again? You're like Washington D.C., right?
DC.
Yeah. All right. What do you want to talk about this time?
So I don't have as boring of a topic this time. My main point, and this is mostly, I guess, for Mark and Obley, not Travis, is that I think Team Liquid, a lot of when people were announcing roster changes, then everyone's like, "Oh, Doublelift's coming. Oh, Impact's coming." People started throwing the words, God roster or packed team, or they're taking all of the talent, whatever. I think the roster's slightly overrated. I still think that people are right that they're probably top 2. I don't think they're number 1. And I think a lot of the reason why they're overrated is because Season 5 CLG, which everyone says, oh, it's 3 of the players, and they're just bringing them over, and they won NALCS. A lot of people don't realize Season 5 was fucking awful. And everybody in NALCS in Season 5 was really, really bad. So that roster's a little bit, in my opinion, I'm obviously a huge CLG fan, I think that roster's a little bit overrated, and because of that, I think Team Liquid's roster is also slightly overrated.
Hey man, didn't you see them go to MSI and perform? How do you justify that?
Yeah, but that wasn't the same. You mean the 2016 MSI with the SKT, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I mean they only swapped out Doublelift, right? At that point,
it was. Yes, Stixxay came in, and
yeah.
Huhi did not come in yet. They were splitting still.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of maybe you're different, but a lot of CLG fans, I feel like, just kind of lump that golden era, quote unquote,
Huhi
together.
had come in. You
What's
fucking fake ass CLG fans. Huhi had come in.
Oh yeah, I
Pro
forgot about the
Belter and
Huhi
Doublelift
change
at the
too.
same time.
Yeah.
Lazarus. Lazarus.
I love TSM. Great.
Lazarus likes to tout he's the biggest CLG fan ever, and he's like, oh yes, the one event that they had major international success at. Yes, I know the roster for that.
Well, I think it speaks more to his point if we're going back to that the Season 5 CLG. That
get those hang up emojis in the Twitch chat right now.
Mark baited me.
It was my fault. I admit.
I
yeah.
agreed.
Yeah, no, there was more change than I think I remembered. Because I feel like, I don't know why, in my head, that era just sits together because they won 2 titles, and but it is pretty different. And I actually agree that like season 5 there were a lot of weak teams. If you just look at like even the mid and bottom of the barrel teams this year, or like who will be the bottom of the barrel teams, they're so much better than the talent that we had back then, who were the bottom of the barrel. And I think the top is much more contentious now as well. The only thing that I struggle with is that a large portion of that potentially overrated Season 5 CLG team went on to contest the number 1 spot with TSM last split. So I'm not quite sure I'm ready to buy in on it's completely overrated, though I do think that was an era that was much easier to play in.
I unfortunately have to somewhat agree with Risen Lazarus. I think some might recall that last week there was a conversation about Ole and Double F synergy. I made the infamous Shake Shack prediction about Ole and Double Lift having synergy issues. And you didn't see last week's episode, did you, Avli?
All
right.
What happened?
So, Double Lift and Ole go into Shake Shack. Ole never been there before. Double Lift orders for him. We go outside, we wait, food comes out. Ole upset that Double Lift did not get him French fries. And then Ole kept bringing it up through the whole meal. So there's definitely communication issues there.
That's not a communication issue. That's a Double Lift issue. How do you not order him fries? You get fries whenever you get a burger. That's a fundamental issue.
I shared my fries with Ole, but he still wasn't happy.
It's the thought, not that he didn't have fries.
Bench him.
Is there anything else to say on this call? Risen Lazarus went on his rant.
Bench him.
He got exposed. I told my story.
How did that get exposed?
I feel like it's
I
over.
exposed myself more than anything.
Don't expose yourself on this show. I don't want to get TOS'd. Trying to get sponsors. All right. Thank you so much, Lazarus, for calling in. We'll have to see if TL is overrated or not.
I mean, they're still probably going to be in the finals. It's just that people are saying they're going to.
This is the worst call ever. Then you're like, yeah, they're overrated. No, they're still going to be a finals
because
team.
People are saying they're going to be some sort of Worlds. And I haven't, in my opinion, if Team Liquid goes to Worlds, there's no way they leave groups, because I think all of their players except Ole are pretty much known quantities.
So you're boldly saying that a North American team won't make it out of groups in January of that year.
That's my huge reach prediction.
This is just everything that everybody says about DC. Drain the swamp. That's what I got.
Jesus Christ.
Now I understand it. Thank you so much for your call, Risen Lazarus.
Travis, we got 5 minutes.
All right, he's gone. We got 2 more calls.
I have to admit, I was wrong. I went back through the chat records. You did not say I could talk about anime. I think I put that into my own mind.
Jadek has subbed, and so did Omnifinity. Thank you for that. Before we get the next caller, what would you say about anime, Avli?
I like anime. I like anime
Wolves
a lot.
is here. Wolves TM, thank you so much for calling into the show. Where are you calling from?
Spokane, Washington.
Okay, very good. I think they're first Washington. Normally we get a lot of people from Washington, but...
You probably get a lot more from Seattle.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, first Washington caller of the night.
Woo!
I'll take it. Yeah. Congratulations, it's a great honor. You bestowed on you.
It feels so special.
What's your assertion, your position? What are you going for tonight?
All right, so I keep watching all these power rankings and putting Optic 10th, always 10th, and to me it's really sad to see, because I feel like they're going to fight for 6th place with Echo Fox, and the reason is I look at a couple months ago, I was looking at all these teams that were going to be like, okay, what teams are going to make it in the franchise and stuff like that. And most people were like, oh, P1 is definitely going to be out. And I was like, well, then maybe P1 and Echo Fox should just combine their current rosters from last split. So you would have like Zig, Acadian, Froggen, and then you'd put Arrow and X Special in the bot lane. Well, you kind of have a lot of that same roster on Optic now. You have like basically a Froggen clone in Power of Evil, and in my opinion, you have basically the Peyton Manning of esports in elimination by being the old guy that still has the brain but can't really perform the same level like he used to. Like, I'm a Bronco fan, so I know, like, watching my team win the Super Bowl with an aging quarterback that needs a walker, And so like, I feel like they're gonna be way better than people are gonna make them out to be.
Mark, is Elimination the Peyton Manning of esports?
No.
In just the idea that he's old, like the old guy, but can still like has the brain to get.
Peyton Manning is an all-time great quarterback.
Yes, that's right. Of course.
He just wants to say they're both old.
They're old, the old guy.
Why didn't you pick an old guy who wasn't gonna be a Hall of Fame quarterback?
There isn't really that many old people in league esports.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I don't have a problem with Lemon. I have a problem with Peyton. Why'd you pick Peyton? Just pick some fucking old running back or like some old placeholder.
Look at like
punt.
Lemon's like career. He's always been like the guy with the notebook. Like he was the first guy with a notebook, and he was always like doing pick and ban. And I always was impressed by his game knowledge and the way he drafted and stuff like that. And I feel like that's similar to Peyton.
Yeah, I don't want to throw you under the Mark bus just because you made the reference. I know what you mean, right? Which is that they've got elimination, sort of strategic thinking and thought process brought into the team.
Right. And so and I feel like, and then you have like Zig played with Mike Young for about almost a full split. And Acadian, Mike Young, and Acadian has a very similar playstyle, so I feel like they're going to synergize pretty well. Like it won't take long for their synergy to.
Sorry, I haven't even finished watching Mark's video. I know he's watching a Tyler One stream for some reason, but are a lot of people putting Optic in last place?
I think I've seen like 3 or 4 videos that they're in 10th.
I think the reason they do that is because despite a lot of people being kind of down on Golden Guardians, no one thinks they're going to be 10th. And they think it's going to be one of these new mishmash teams. And when you look at those mishmash teams, that the worst 2 on paper are FlyQuest and Optic. And I think...
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, I think people are just a lot higher on the infrastructure that FlyQuest should have gotten this time with how many more resources they put into it over Optic. I know Romaine's great, and Zabutine's untested. So I think
that is, I definitely agree with that. Zabutine, like no one knows like how he's gonna perform as a coach. That's definitely a wild card. I think that's the biggest wild card for Optic is Zabutine. And I do agree with like there's a lot of shortcomings in the like on paper. I feel like there's a lot of like unknowns because like Acadian and Zig are both pretty young in their careers as in their roles. Like Zig is kind of hammered around the challenger scene as an 80 carry main, and then role swapped and now is a starter.
But he's been top for years.
Okay, I mean, and I don't, I'm not exactly sure like the length of his career. So, but he seems pretty new overall. Like he's only been a starter for a year, and so him and Acadian are pretty new. Arrow, I feel like a lot of people are taking their each of their last splits into account more than their careers. So like Arrow and Zig were on a bottom of the barrel Phoenix 1 team that was in playoffs the year before or the split before, and Acadian came out of the gates as a rookie and just was smashing people, and then he had a down split the second in summer. So I mean, I feel like there's definitely a great potential for them to be 6th. Like I think them and Echo Fox are gonna fight for 6th place.
I think I agree with the idea that Optic isn't like a lock at 10th. I don't think anyone who puts them at 10th is like this team is 100% 10th. I think what always happens is that there's these, like I said, these teams that are smashed together and 1 or 2 will flop, 1 or 2 will do well, a couple will struggle or something like that, and you're not exactly sure who's going to be who because you really can't say because there's no prior data other than like all these guys have had high moments and bad moments. Like Ryu and Meteos were part of that shitty P1 team. Why do people put 100? You know, I think those are the kind of question marks people look at. And
same shitty P1 team also dominated at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, but Rift Rivals doesn't matter.
It was kind of.
Yeah. So I just say I think the reason people end up putting Optic 10th is that they have fewer of the highs to go on than some of these other teams. Like you have Someday and Afro compared to Lemon and Zig. So I think that's where you see people kind of start dropping Optic down if you start looking at these new teams. The only other thing I'd say is I really don't think Power of Evil is a good comparison for Froggen. I think
he's the what I mean is like he's the most like if you were gonna like go into a lab and clone Froggen, but it like you had like a couple genes off, it would be Power of Evil. Like, it'd be super close, but at the same time, he's not. Like, they have very similar playstyles. They're very farm heavy, and they like to do weird things, like build Nashor's Tooth on Orianna or Rapid Fire Cannon on TF, which makes sense. I like that. I think it's awesome. But
I don't know. I think Froggen plays the game a lot more lane dominant.
Yeah,
where,
I think more selfishly, whereas PoE is more.
Yeah, I think they're pretty different in how they want to influence the game. Power of Evil, I agree, isn't super aggressive in the early game and is like focused on farming and stuff, but he becomes like a really good team fighter who wants to roam around the map and make plays, where that's something that Froggen has always struggled with.
I think the last point I want to make on Optic is Romain. He, like, every year when he was with you Unicorns, they would come into the next split and you would see all these unknown people on it and you're like, Unicorns are done. And then they're fourth or top 4. Like, year in and year out. And I think some of that has to do with Romain. I'm not sure
but he's not on his home turf anymore. So
true.
I think it's probably
that's very true. But
is the NALCS going to let him prance around shirtless? That's the question. Because I hear that's where half the power comes from, is that he exposes his body.
Hey, Wolves, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it.
Have one
I know you do, but I actually have one more caller I have to get to.
Anime recommendation. Real fast.
Okay. If you've never watched anime before, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you can watch the dub or you can watch the sub. Both are very accessible.
Part of both. Watched part of both. I need to finish them. I just have they took them off Netflix, and I was like, well, great.
It's on Netflix. You're lying. Go to Netflix. It's there.
Okay. All right. I'll go back to Brotherhood. Thank you.
Go watch Brotherhood.
No liars allowed. Kick him out.
No liars. I know. No excuses. Oh, it's not on Netflix. Go to Crunchyroll. Oh, it's not on Crunchyroll. Go to Hulu. Oh, it's not on Hulu. Kiss anime.
We need this one last caller because I noticed that while there was that heated discussion about Optic, you were in Twitch chat arguing with people about anime. Remember earlier when I said don't look at Twitch chat because it's going to get you distracted? And now you're just in there chatting about anime?
Hey Travis, this next guy's a robot.
Hello, Memento T. Mori. Where are you calling from?
Oxford, Ohio.
Okay.
That's so cool.
I don't know what it is.
Why does your microphone sound so weird?
He's from the future. He's going to tell us what happens next split.
No, it's weird because the microphone sounds fine, but like it sounds like there's a background noise of a robot.
Like, you know those microphones that you can talk to and it like echoes the toy microphones?
I thought he was talking into a fan or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
My bad.
What would you like to talk about?
Talk about how I'm pretty disappointed for Riot's lack of attempts to increase viewership. Like, Overwatch had billboards and game rewards and a bunch of advertisements leading up to their opening week. Obviously, it was like successful since they had like Tyler 1 levels of viewership.
Well, okay.
And then when franchising was announced, I think like a lot of people assumed there would like more would be done with all the NBA money, specifically with advertising and marketing, but so far I've been pretty underwhelmed. I think the switch to like stream will help viewership, but I don't think I thought there would be more done.
So the only thing I would challenge you on there is I don't think that there's any evidence that putting a billboard up is going to increase your stream viewership. I do think there's evidence that auto-playing your stream in the Overwatch tab of the Blizzard client is going to increase your viewership. That's not to say that I'm trying to discredit the viewership that they're getting with Overwatch League, because I think it's good, and I think like you can't attribute all that to the auto-playing stuff, but I do think that my guess would be that the mechanisms that Blizzard is using to promote Overwatch League within their launcher and within the game is actually what is going to drive most of that viewership, rather than stuff like the YouTube ads that I've seen and the billboards.
I just respect the effort.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I mean, it is cool that they're trying. But the other thing that I could see a Riot employee saying is, well, we don't need that because we already have the viewership.
God, I don't like that argument. I agree. I understand, like, if you're like trying to save money, you don't want to do it, okay, but to the point of like, did those YouTube ads help boost viewership? And like, is there a trackable metric to determine that? If the answer is yes, then I really think you should try it. Because if it does increase your viewership, that's probably a good use of money.
Yeah.
It's also not necessarily just increasing viewership. It's more like increasing awareness. Like, I don't even think most of like the NBA fans probably don't know much about their or League of Legends team counterparts. Like the Golden Warriors did a thing that was pretty cool, but besides that, I didn't see much else done.
Yeah, it depends on where you think you're going to get your audience. Like, do you think that you can get a lot of people who don't know anything about League of Legends to watch League of Legends? I would assume that the vast majority of the people that are watching Overwatch League play Overwatch, and so that's pretty good. To that point, though, the fact that I was seeing what, Mark?
So it's opening weekend, and to the Tyler 1 point, like, I feel like this is gonna. I don't know why this is gonna come. Maybe it's not gonna feel as negative as it feels in my head, but like, I'm not stunned at the viewership. I think it was good. I think it was great, but I'm not like, wow, how'd they hit this after hyping it up for 2 years and like advertising the hell out of it and it being the biggest deal on Twitch that day. Like, I know there was a major going on, I think, or maybe it hadn't started yet, but so like it's the same thing with Tyler 1. Like, he was banned for a year. He was hyped up. He was unbanned by Riot. All of it became like a story.
Well, Memento really disagrees with you.
No, he doesn't. His robot does.
Angry grunts.
I'm just saying, I guess what I'm saying is, like, both Tyler 1 and Overwatch had, like, a ton of hype coming into their premieres, and both of them did great. Tyler 1 obliterated the personal stream record by 150,000-ish, 125,000, and Overwatch did great. And in no way am I saying they didn't do great, but like, the idea of having massive viewership on day one is not something that I am impressed by, I guess I would say.
I will say, though, that I do like Memento. I think I said this a year ago even. When traditional sports come back into season, there's a bunch of advertisements that start to play to get people to know the time slot and all that stuff. I think it would have been really exciting to see a marketing campaign come out from Riot that's like, the new LCS, and it's all hyping up like the new teams and the new partnerships and all this kind of new stuff, the new time, the fact that it's back to best of ones. Like there's a lot they could have done there, and I think that, as always, they did basically what they normally do, and I think that that's a missed opportunity. So I think that's a fair point. Avli, what would you have liked to see?
I agree with that.
I mean, I think you guys already hit all the points. I definitely think that having ads in client is definitely much better than maybe putting out all these crazy banners or putting all the... Mark is dying right now. Yeah. Or having like billboards all over the cities and everything, because like when I see a billboard, I'll think, oh, that's cool, I'll remember to tune in. But if my mom sees the billboard, or my grandma or someone who has no idea what gaming is, they're not going to look at it and go like, oh, I better go watch the League of Riot games or something like that. So I think in client stuff, but I mean, I don't know how money works yet. So I don't know how much money they dumped into. I'm still buying. I bought 10 boxes of mac and cheese for like $8, and that's what I'm going to eat.
Memento, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. You can unmute, yeah. But appreciate it, and I think you should check in on that robot because it sounds like it's getting angry.
Or your voice. I don't know what it is.
Thank you, guys.
Could you just imagine we meet him in person and he just looks and just starts going just like who he is as a person. How dare we mock him? Celebrate diversity. Memento, thank you so much for the call. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I think experimenting more with ad campaigns is something they should look into. I like the idea of it. I just don't want to go and be like, look at how successful it was for Overwatch, because I felt like a lot of that was just due to the existing hype, and I don't know the metrics.
Yeah. Avali, you want to wrap us up? You got anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to say? This is your open forum here.
Top anime of this season. No, I'm just kidding.
Violet Evergarden.
Who are you? Are you just listening to Josh? Is that all that you do? You just listen to what he tells you to watch?
I watched it. It was pretty.
All right. That's what I hear. I hear pretty,
I'm not hyped
but I
on
don't hear
it yet,
anything
though.
else.
Yeah.
What has he made you watch recently, Mark? Let's wrap it with this.
No, let's not wrap it with this.
Yeah.
Only Violet Evergarden. I'm gonna watch Devilman Crybaby.
Ooh, that looks like a good one. I'm excited for that. But look at Travis. He's slowly disappearing off the face of the earth.
I'd be fine with that.
This is the future, Travis. I will take your place, and you will keep reclining further and further. Anime, weebs around the world.
Hey, Avli, I'm about to kick you off. Plug your Twitter before I kick you off.
My Twitter is Avali May. You can follow me for League of Legends stuff. I do interviews. I'm excited for day one of LCS.
Don't kick her off because I have to fix the thing. She's here until the end. You're excited for the LCS.
I was going to take her out of Discord. We don't have to...
No, leave her there. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, don't bully me.
All right. Are you done with your thing?
I think so. I plugged my name, Avali May. That's my Twitter.
Yeah.
You can follow me for weird stuff. And
You have a wish list. What's on your wish list these days?
I haven't updated in forever. I think there's just a lot of JoJo stuff.
Okay.
Just a lot of JoJo.
Avali.com/support. Mark, what do you got?
Not much. I did an AMA, answered a lot of questions last week or something. Put my first video out. My content plan for 2018 is analyst desk for LCS. I'll be doing Academy casting. I'll be doing this show, Blame Game, offline TV content. Still planning on doing GLT, but I need to figure out where that slots in. I'm gonna be a busy boy. Follow my Twitter. It's on screen right now at @TheMarkZ to keep up with all my stuff.
What is a Buster activity map? Matt.
Oh, okay. So that is a dog mat. So
right.
basically, it has.
Never mind. That's all I need to know.
For your dog.
Thank you. I'll see your body pillows are no longer available. You can check out all my stuff at my YouTube channel. If you are watching the YouTube video right now, people ask this question all the time. We tend to stream these at 8 p.m. on Mondays. Sometimes we have to move it around.